The crucible loomed above the fractured planet like a mechanical deity, silent, vast, and uncaring. An orbital station reeking of tradition and blood. Every trial here was broadcast across hundreds of systems. And today, the universe had tuned in for something special, the first Terran cadet to enter the Apex trial. Cade Cale stood on the metallic platform at the arena's center, boots locked to the plating, his face unreadable. No weapon. No armor. Just the fitted black compression suit issued to all trial combatants. He didn't glance at the millions watching from afar or the holographic banners floating mid-air, each mocking him in different dialects. "Look at it," sneered Commander Vailzer from the command box, his sharp fingers curling around a golden rail. "Barely out of its spawning age, and they think it can survive a predator trial." The crowd laughed. Not the laugh of humor, but of contempt. Dozens of species, some with tendrils, some with crystalline jaws, watched as the broadcast zoomed in on the lone human cadet. Cade didn't flinch. "He's calm," whispered Counselor Alvreth beside Vailzer. "Too stupid to be afraid," Vailzer replied. Below, Cade exhaled slowly. The platform beneath his feet vibrated. A low hum echoed across the arena. The terrain began to shift, metal plates rearranging to form jagged hills, pits, and cracked ground. Rocks materialized from hidden panels. A scent dispersal system flooded the air with pheromones, predator bait. He scanned the terrain with clinical eyes. No wasted movement. No dramatic posturing. A voice chirped through his earpiece. "Trial parameters confirmed. Begin in 60 seconds. Good luck, cadet." He didn't answer. He didn't need luck. He needed the monsters to arrive. 2 years earlier. The memory came uninvited, his brother, Levi, standing just like this. Same arena. Same silence. But his trial never ended. He'd been pitted against a creature far beyond regulations, and his screams had echoed across solar systems before the feed was interrupted due to solar interference. Earth had filed a complaint. The Council had buried it. Levi's body was never returned. Back in the present, Cade let the memory go. Let it sharpen him. A klaxon howled. Trial commencing. Specimen release in 10. 9. Behind the shifting rocks, 3 massive doors hissed open. The crowd roared as the beasts emerged, each genetically perfected to dismantle Apex warriors from galactic warfronts. First out, Ravlock. Its skin shimmered like water, adapting instantly to the environment. Eyes like obsidian marbles locked on Cade. Second, Dreeken. A bulk of coiled muscle and gravity-manipulating nodules embedded in its spine. It exhaled, and a rock nearby crumbled under sudden compression. Third, Zenther. Tall, lean, translucent head pulsing with psionic light. It didn't walk, it glided. "They're not testing him," muttered someone in the control room. "They're erasing him." Vailzer leaned forward. "Begin transmission. Let them see what Earth produces. Let the people see the truth." A voice from the AI control station replied, streaming to over 217 planetary systems and 84 core worlds. Terran trial now live. On the field, Cade rolled his neck once, right shoulder then left. His breathing slowed to a crawl. Heart rate steady. He blinked. The monsters began to spread out, forming a lethal triangle. The crowd chanted. Words he didn't understand. But he knew what they meant. "Die well, human." A flicker of movement to his left. Ravlock had vanished into the terrain, using its adaptive camouflage. It was hunting. Cade didn't look its way. He kept his eyes on Dreeken, the blunt force weapon. He let his body appear exposed, loose. A warning chime in the arena signaled all predators were in active hunt mode. Still, Cade didn't move. A voice behind the shielded control glass broke the silence. "He's frozen." Vailzer smirked. "Or praying." Suddenly, Cade shifted his right foot back, just slightly. That's when Ravlock struck. From the rear, full pounce, claws extended, mouth open. But Cade had anticipated it. As the shadow fell across him, he ducked, twisted, and with a single, brutal motion, redirected its weight. A crunch. A roar. Silence. The arena screens froze the moment. Ravlok's skull split against a jagged outcrop Cade had subtly angled himself toward. One down. The arena didn't cheer. They blinked. Veilzer's expression soured. Begin adaptive escalation, he barked. Dreeken, crush him. Dreeken's nodules pulsed, gravity flux warped the ground. Cade felt the pull. Heavy. Breath shallow. He dropped to one knee, then pushed forward at an angle that let him slide across loose debris. A memory surfaced, Levi's journals, about how gravity beasts have a short recharge after their pulse. That window, less than 3 seconds, was a death gap. Cade moved during the gap. He climbed onto Dreeken's back mid-recharge and jammed a compact spike from his wrist gauntlet into the soft skin behind the neck plate. A hiss of confused pain. Then stillness. Dreeken slumped, systems overloaded. 2 down. Only Zenther remained. It hadn't moved much. Its mind was active, trying to claw into Cade's thoughts. Cade staggered once. Not from fear, but from the memory Zenther had unearthed, Levi's final scream. But Cade did not break. He whispered, "You chose wrong." He opened a neural feedback loop using his gauntlet's latent amplifier, a Terran modification, unauthorized in galactic trials. Zenther reeled, twitching. It had never encountered human grief at full intensity. Its own mind caved under the feedback. It fell. Arena kill systems activated and terminated it instantly. The crucible fell silent. No music. No commentary. Cade stood alone, 3 corpses around him, untouched. He looked to the command box. Lifted his hand. 1 finger. 1 strike each. The smell of burnt ozone and scorched flesh still lingered as Cade Kale stepped away from Zenther's smoldering body. His boots crunched over fractured ground, the only sound in an arena built for roars. Silence echoed louder than any cheer. Cameras zoomed in from every angle, trying to find something: fear, doubt, damage. There was none. Above, Veilzer leaned back in his chair, jaw tight. "Impossible," he whispered, voice coated in disbelief. Those were apex specimens. Not simulations. Not diluted. Fully weaponized. Counselor Alvarez, who moments ago had mocked Earth's entry into the conglomerate, now watched Cade as if he were a puzzle with missing edges. He ended all 3 in less than 5 minutes. "No," Veilzer said. "He studied them first." "That's worse." A maintenance drone hovered overhead, projecting a holographic replay. It slowed Cade's movements, his sidestep before Ravlok's leap, his redirection of force, the gravity slip against Dreeken, the mental feedback against Zenther. Each move was deliberate. Efficient. Not random. Planned. Cade paused in the center of the arena. He looked up, locking eyes with the judge's box. His voice cut through the quiet like a blade. "Was that the best you had?" Gasps rippled through the audience. Not because of the words, but because of the weight behind them. Back in the viewing deck, Veilzer stood. "Cut his feed." An officer hesitated. "Sir, protocol." "Protocol?" Veilzer's eyes glowed. That thing just humiliated the entire Predator program. "Shut him off." The officer didn't move. Counselor Alvarez leaned forward. "Let him speak." The feed continued. Cade didn't speak again. He simply turned, walking away from the carnage, unhurried. He passed a blood-smeared boulder, paused, and knelt briefly. He pressed a small chip beneath it, a tracker. Then stood and continued without explanation. High above, in a sealed observation pod, Earth's ambassador to the conglomerate, Celine Ward, exhaled for the first time in minutes. Was that 3 apex kills? Solo, her aide confirmed. Flawless execution. Celine nodded once. Then Earth just arrived. Later, in the debriefing chamber, Cade stood under an arc of scanning beams. Medical drones assessed his vitals. All green. No major injuries. Minor neural strain, likely from the psychic feedback. Dr. Urin, a Zentari medic with 4 eyes and 2 hearts, reviewed the readings. "You should be dead," he said plainly. Cade didn't respond. Urin continued, "Zenther alone should have liquefied your frontal cortex. Even high-grade telepath blockers fail against it. How did you reverse link it?" Cade shrugged. "I've had worse headaches." The medic stared. That was not a joke. It wasn't meant to be. Urin blinked all 4 eyes in sequence and moved on. The door to the chamber hissed open. Veilzer entered, flanked by 2 security enforcers in high-grade armor. "You've made quite a mess, Cadet," he said flatly. Cade stood still. Veilzer circled him slowly. "You embarrassed a trillion-credit weapons program. You undermined conglomerate confidence. And worst of all, you gave Earth a platform it didn't earn." Cade turned his head. "Are we done pretending this was a test?" The commander's jaw twitched. Cade stepped forward. "You killed my brother in this arena. You erased the footage. But you forgot something." Veilzer raised a brow. "And what's that?" Cade leaned in, voice cold. "We remember." Flashback. Levi Kale. Kneeling on the sand. Bleeding. Alone. A predator claw sliced through his side. He screamed. Then, static. Feed cut. Cade had watched it 1,000 times. 1 frame before blackout, Levi's eyes looked to the camera. Not begging. Not afraid. Just disappointed. Back in the present, Cade stepped back. "The moment you called this trial, you confirmed what I already knew. You didn't want to test me. You wanted to bury me." Veilzer chuckled darkly. "You're not buried, Cadet. You're spotlighted. And that means consequences." Cade folded his arms. "Let them come." In a private chamber beyond the observation decks, the Galactic Council convened. Holographic members blinked into place, floating avatars of varying shapes and forms. Celine Ward stood in the center. "Earth formally submits a motion," she began, "to revise its status within the conglomerate from provisional ally to strategic combat partner based on today's demonstration." Murmurs sparked among the representatives. Veilzer's projection appeared. "I object. This display was reckless. Unauthorized tech was used. This human is a danger to protocol." Celine's lips curled. "You mean the gauntlet upgrade that wasn't detected by your 12-layer scan? Or the neural feedback that isn't illegal, just inconvenient?" Silence. An aquatic diplomat with a voice like bubbling syrup spoke next. "I second the motion. Humans have proven themselves." Thirded, a reptilian chimed. Veilzer snarled. "You're making a mistake." "No," Celine said. "You did. When you thought we were prey." Back in Cade's quarters, he sat alone. Lights dim. Uniform stripped down. He reached into his gear case and pulled out a data chip. Inserted it into his holotablet. A file opened. Levi's voice, rough and laughing, played back. "If you're watching this, Cade, you've outlived me. Which means, you're just as stubborn as I hoped." Cade closed his eyes. "One day, they'll push you too far. And when they do, make sure they understand, Earth is not weak. It's waiting." Cade smiled faintly. "Now go show them what Kales are made of." He pressed pause. Outside, the crucible lights dimmed. But across the galaxy, the story was just beginning. The crucible's steel corridors, once buzzing with activity, now echoed with quiet tension. Cade walked them without escort. No alarms. No orders. Just the hollow hum of a station suddenly unsure of its hierarchy. Every surveillance drone tracked him, but none moved in. He had become more than a cadet, he was now a variable, one that frightened even the systems built to contain threats like him. At the far end of the hall, a reinforced door slid open. Inside, a war room filled with holograms, military charts, and commanders from multiple species stared at the screen replaying his trial. "Stop the loop," Celine Ward said, voice even. The footage paused on the final frame, Cade standing alone, expression unreadable, surrounded by 3 fallen apex predators. A Kalari general growled, "He's dangerous." "No," Celine replied. "He's prepared." Counselor Bran, a being composed of gaseous light, hovered forward. "If this is what Earth trains in its youth, what does that say about the rest?" "It says," she said firmly, "that our patience has always been mistaken for weakness." Elsewhere on the Crucible, Commander Vailzer stood before a communications panel, jaw clenched. He paced, tail twitching, eyes flicking to the encrypted alert blinking on his display. A private message from the conglomerate's Internal Defense Committee. Not a congratulation. A warning. Contain or cooperate. There is no third option. He hissed through his teeth. The council was shifting. Momentum no longer favored the old powers. And the worst part, they hadn't just lost control of a trial. They'd lost control of the narrative. Cade sat in a private chamber, its walls pulsing with subtle white-blue light, designed to calm warriors after combat. But Cade wasn't trembling. He wasn't reflecting. He was listening. From the corner of the room, a hidden speaker played back dozens of broadcast snippets, extracted from Galactic social channels. "Did you see how he moved? Like he'd already fought them before. Humans? They're not supposed to win these trials. 1 strike per kill." It was like poetry. Violent, efficient poetry. Maybe Earth isn't primitive. Maybe we're just blind. Cade muted the stream. He'd heard enough. Celine entered without knocking. "You made yourself very loud today." Cade didn't look up. "You wanted subtle?" "No. I wanted survival. You gave us fear." She sat across from him. "And now we have leverage." He nodded once. "They tried to bury us again. They failed." She studied him. "You've been carrying your brother's ghost since the day you enlisted." "I'm not carrying him," Cade said quietly. "I'm finishing what they tried to erase." She slid a datapad across the table. "Effective immediately, Earth has been elevated to full combat partner status. We now have a seat at the Security Council." He glanced at the datapad, then back at her. "That was fast. You made it faster." She leaned in. "But with that seat comes visibility. And attention. We won't be underestimated again. They'll aim higher now. Dirtier. You've shifted the board. I didn't come here to be safe." "I know." She stood. "You came here to change the rules." Later that cycle, the Crucible broadcasted a rare live session. Not a trial. A declaration. Vailzer stepped into the spotlight before the galactic audience. "In light of recent events, we offer congratulations to Cadet Cade Kale of Earth for surviving the Apex trial. His performance, though unconventional, has set new standards." No applause. Just diplomatic formality. He continued, tone clipped. "In response, we are initiating a full review of Predator protocol, arena ethics, and candidate criteria." A soft murmur passed through the council. Then Cade entered, uninvited. Every gaze snapped to him. He walked straight to the front, stopping 3 paces from Vailzer. "You don't need to rewrite the rules," he said. "You need to remember what you've ignored." Vailzer sneered. "Which is?" Cade met his eyes. "That we learn. That we adapt. That every time you think we've reached our limit, we write a new one." He turned toward the council. "Earth never asked to be respected. We asked to be seen. You answered with monsters. I answered with 1 strike." And with that, he left. No mic drop. No drama. Just truth. News feeds exploded. Human cadet declares Earth's arrival at conglomerate stage. Apex trial reforms incoming after Terran victory. New galactic power, is Earth the next threat, or the next shield? In dark corners of the galaxy, black market warlords paused. Pirate clans rerouted. Even AI-led systems recalibrated threat assessments. One phrase began to circulate on encrypted channels. Do not engage Terrans without cause. 3 solar cycles later, Cade stood once more in the training bay. Alone. A younger cadet approached, trembling. Not human. A Thraxian, small, insectoid, with soft armor plates and wide, terrified eyes. You're him, the Thraxian whispered. Cade glanced over. I'm just training. But, you killed the predators. Cade stepped aside, motioning to the open mat. You want to learn? He asked. The cadet nodded. Then forget the legends, Cade said. Let's start with your footing. Far above, beyond the Crucible and its politics, a new file was logged in the conglomerate threat database. Subject, Terran cadets. Status, monitored combat class A. Note, capable of rapid adaptation. Psychological resistance above baseline. Strategic threat when provoked. One line, red-coded, was added at the end. Do not mistake quiet for weakness. The shuttle descended through layers of orbital fog, piercing the sulfur clouds that wreathed the surface of their axis, a neutral trade world with no military jurisdiction. But Cade Cale wasn't here for politics. He came for answers. The Crucible had elevated Earth's status, but with recognition came exposure. Celine had warned him someone would push back. Cade had no doubt who. Deep inside the smuggler ring archives, a name kept surfacing. A hidden directive signed just days before Levi Cale's trial, immediate predator escalation, override 17B, subject, Levi Cale. Authorized by Veilzer. Cade wasn't interested in public vengeance. He wanted the truth exposed, irreversible and undeniable. The landing pad was rusted, abandoned except for a droid missing half its casing. Cade stepped onto the platform, coat flapping as acidic wind swept across the rock. He carried no weapon. Just the encrypted data stick with the override order copied from a corrupted file Levi had hidden years ago. A contact approached, hooded, limping, voice processed through a grit filter. You the Terran? I'm Cade. The figure handed him a data prism. Council doesn't know I kept this. One backup file. Levi tried to send it before he died. Cade inserted the prism into his wrist console. A corrupted video file loaded. Flickered. Stabilized. It was Levi. Face bloodied, breathing hard. Behind him, the Crucible's terrain shifted mid-trial, an anomaly. Predators swarmed outside designated zones. Over the feed, Veilzer's voice could be heard. Disable oversight drones. I want no survivors. Cade froze. The line was short, but enough. Proof of deliberate sabotage. An execution masked as a trial. He downloaded the clip. I was there that day, the contact said. They erased half the server logs. Didn't expect Levi to bounce his feed through blacklisted back channels. You just changed everything, Cade said. No, the figure muttered, vanishing into the storm. You will. Hours later, the Crucible's data stream pulsed with a new alert. Not from the Council. From Cade himself. Unencrypted. Public. Attention, open broadcast. Attached, voice of Veilzer authorizing trial sabotage. Subject, Levi Cale. Classification, war crime. Galactic channels lit up in real time. The broadcast rippled across defense networks, merchant hubs, civilian systems. The Crucible went dark for 6 minutes, a security measure against mass panic. But it was too late. Truth doesn't ask permission. In the command tower, Veilzer stood motionless, every screen displaying his voice print, his words now shared across thousands of systems. A council AI prompted, "Do you wish to issue a denial?" "No," he growled. "I want a strike prepared." "Specify target?" Veilzer's eyes narrowed. Cade Kale. Dead or deleted. Cade knew it wouldn't be long. He returned to his private quarters. Lights dimmed. Walls insulated. Still, he sensed movement beyond them, mercs hired off the books. Not conglomerate. Not sanctioned. He waited. The lock disengaged with a soft click. 3 intruders entered. 1 reptilian, 2 humanoid. Silencers ready. Their boots made no sound. Cade didn't move. "I was wondering how long it would take," he said. The lead merc froze. "You're not armed." "I'm enough." He moved before they could react. The first dropped, windpipe crushed with a turn of Cade's forearm. The second fired. Cade sidestepped, caught the wrist, bent it back until the elbow snapped clean. The last, terrified, lunged. Cade ducked, pivoted, and struck the base of the skull. 1 hit. He stood over them, breathing steady. Their equipment, non-traceable. Their mission, obvious. Celine arrived moments later, eyes scanning the wreckage. "They're escalating." "They're reacting," Cade corrected. She stepped closer. "The council will be forced to vote now. Public pressure is too strong. Veilzer's trial is inevitable." "No," Cade said. "It's not." "What do you mean?" "He'll run." And run he did. Within 24 hours, Veilzer vanished from official channels. His command codes were revoked. His planetary assets seized. But he wasn't gone. He had allies, old ones, hidden in the fracture systems of the Outer Rim. Places where law bent easily, and old hatreds thrived. Cade prepared to leave the Crucible. Not with a squad. Alone. Celine intercepted him on the dock. "This isn't sanctioned." Neither was Levi's murder. "We've won. The truth is out." "No," Cade said, stepping onto the boarding ramp, "truth is just the opening move." The ship tore through hyperspace, heading to a broken moon called Nethar, where Veilzer's last signal had been traced. Inside, Cade reviewed every file, his brother's training logs, intercepted communications, failed assassination attempts. This wasn't a rivalry. It was a purge, designed to erase Earth before it ever stood. He would end it. On Nethar, the terrain was jagged, carved by centuries of orbital mining. Winds howled like wolves. Cade moved like shadow, blending into dark corridors that once housed weapon traders and tech smugglers. Now, they housed cowards. He found Veilzer in a bunker beneath the surface, surrounded by decaying weapons, a once proud command center turned relic. "You followed me," Veilzer said, bitterly amused. "No," Cade replied. "I finished the trial." Veilzer raised a plasma dagger. "This is how your kind wins? Revenge? This is justice." And a warning. They clashed, once. Cade dodged the first thrust, caught the second, drove the dagger back into Veilzer's side. No theatrics. No speech. Just finality. Veilzer collapsed. Cade knelt beside him. "You feared humans would rise. That fear built this war. Now let it bury you." Hours later, Cade sent one last message from Nether's uplink station. "Commander Veilzer has been found guilty by his own words and actions. Trial concluded. Sentence carried out. Earth stands. And it does not kneel." Galactic systems absorbed the news. Cade Kale became a name whispered not in fear, but in respect. The Crucible was redesigned. New protocols. New oversight. And above Earth's orbit, a satellite beamed out a single message on loop across the stars. Humanity does not forget.